Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Pedro Pascal calling J.K. Rowling a heinous loser. Apparently, he doesn't want to be in the Harry Potter reboot. He's been in everything else.
Yeah,
but
right.
We're gonna talk about this. And look, you're allowed to have your opinions, but I think the point we're gonna try to make in this video is he's gonna be able to say whatever he wants, and there are not going to be any repercussions for him.
Yeah, that's what I did an article on, and that was my takeaway. Is and I said this on Twitter too. I was just like, he's allowed to say this. Is he allowed to say this as long as you're saying it against a biological woman? Is that okay then? He's allowed to make whatever comments he wants to make, be politically divisive, and he doesn't get any repercussions. It's not the first time he's done it either. But they fired Gina Carano for far less. But they let Zegler and Mark Hamill, Mark Ruffalo, and Pedro Pascal comment on things all the time with no pushback.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about what he said, and we'll talk about what was potentially going to happen. And plot twist, spoiler, nothing. I don't think anything is going to happen.
I don't think anything's going to happen either. No, because he's going to be in both their Star Wars movie they're banking on and the Fantastic Four. And moving forward into the Avengers they're banking on. So it's okay if he says stuff.
Yes. And it'll be interesting because, with the Gina Carano case moving forward, they were co-stars. And apparently him and Gina get along fine. There's no bad blood between the two of them. But it's going to be interesting because this might be another thing that they point to and say, well, how come you didn't publicly denounce him when he's attacking a woman?
Well, no, because he's, according to him, he's not. He's attacking, bigots that are, women.
And it's a good thing you're no longer on The Last of Us, dude, because that's HBO and they're bankrolling this one too. So I'm just saying. Anyway, let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
If you're looking for notifications of our new content and to check out our paywalled content, go out to clownfishtv.substack.com. I'm going to pimp that. People don't even know we have it. I guess I should talk more. We have a lot of things going on that nobody knows about because we don't want to be all like, look at us, look at all our stuff, buy our stuff. So anyway, this is coming from Deadline. Pedro Pascal calls out J.K. Rowling for heinous loser behavior for her anti-trans views.
Okay, so what happened was, to sum it up, was the UK Supreme Court ruled that, trans women were not women under the Britain's Equality Act. And it was because of a group of women in Scotland, and Rowling was one of them, and she was funding the group or whatever, allegedly. Were pushing for this, court hearing that cleared the Supreme Court, and they said that women, by definition, according to Equity Act, are going to be biological women. And people are mad about it because of that. And then Pascal was watching some activist video, and he put this comment on there. If he just kept his mouth shut, he can wear the shirt, protect the dolls, which is a trans, protection shirt. He can do that, and so what? It was when he went to this other person's video calling out Rowling, and they're mad because they think that she somehow, influenced the whole Supreme Court or something. Who knows? And she did she put the cigar and said, I love when a plan comes together, which is obviously like an A-Team reference. And he was so mad about it that he felt the need to comment. If he just kept his mouth shut, wouldn't have been an issue. But he doesn't. But it's okay when he doesn't.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, look, you are absolutely allowed to have your opinions about people. Actually, it's interesting, the comments on this. He said that, and this is again coming from the same guy who was equating MAGA hats to Nazi flags and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, Pedro Pascal. Yes.
I don't think he's the brightest bulb in the box because some of the stuff he actually got very wrong historically. But like, you're allowed to have your opinions. I think, what we're seeing though in Hollywood, and I don't know if it's going to start, pivoting back the other way or not, is you're only allowed to have extreme opinions if it was on one side of the aisle.
Right. And that's the point. And they're just giving ammunition to Gina Carano's attorneys.
Oh, absolutely.
Disney's not going to be happy about this because besides the fact that it's a polarizing comment, it's going to give her legal team more ammunition if he doesn't get any kind of repercussions for it.
Yeah. So, Yeah, that shit. That's awful. That awful, disgusting shit that has consequences is the activist guy. It looks like Freddie Mercury, by the way. I don't know who this
Oh
guy is.
no, he doesn't. I don't know. He doesn't look Freddie Mercury.
They said they made a call to he made a call to allies to help not make Harry Potter profitable, as Rowling displays cocky tendencies as she gets the same royalties to her work whether people read them or burn them.
Well, that's what we've said. It's true.
Well, that's it. Everybody's like, "Oh, she's going to go broke." I'm like, I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible for Rowling to go broke at this.
And
this
what
point.
are they mad about? Because they got the Supreme Court in Britain for the Equality Act to rule that women are biological women are women.
Yeah,
that's what they're mad about.
That is what they're mad about. Yes.
I mean, just like, but meanwhile, biological women are being told by some people. Now I want to make this very clear because a lot of people just misunderstand. I have no problem with people being trans. You know what, that they do them. That's their thing. That, I honestly, it doesn't affect me. I mean, well, it didn't until recently, for the most part.
Well, I think that's it. It didn't until recently.
And I think, and there's a lot of people that are trans that unfortunately don't align with this bullshit. And they get just as much crap as those that do. And I don't think that's really fair. Because even a lot of people that are activists aren't even trans themselves. And they're out there, stirring up crap and being dicks. Or vaginas, hey, we don't want to judge. My problem is, as a woman, I don't want to be told that I have to be called something else other than a woman to make other people, this small group happy. And by small group, I mean the ones that are demanding it, because a lot of them aren't even demanding this. Just a small percentage are demanding this. And it's stupid. I should have to be called a birthing person, a menstruating person. Yeah. A cis woman. I hate that. That's for all their derogatory comments. That's a derogatory comment and stuff. And women are supposed to take it and supposed to be called these things to understand that they have to, or you're what do they call them if you don't. That's the slang terms for they're called rallying it too. What do they call that? Turf, that's it. Or you get called that because you're somehow against people. And it's like, I'm not against people, but I don't think I should be called things that I personally find offensive just to make you happy. And how come it's always trans women? It's you never see this without trans men.
Well, it's too late. People have already called you Turfy Sparkles.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying it's ridiculous. It's like, I'm tired. I have no problem if somebody says they're a trans, they want to be a trans. I thought that the whole point was they want to be recognized as just being a woman, and that was it. But that's not it. You have to be like the ultra woman, and that bio women are just like, somehow have to bend the knee too. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I get mad about. And a lot of people aren't like that. I'd say the majority are not like that.
I would say
it's just the ones you hear about are ultra ridiculous.
You want to know what turned people against certain causes? It was the extreme voices.
Yes, and a lot of times they aren't even they don't even identify that way themselves. It's a bunch of white Karens who are spending all day on the internet perpetually triggered for people.
Well, that's what people are like with Pascal. They're like, it's straight
dude.
Like
well, his sister's trans, which he's standing up for his sister, and I get that, and I think that's cool that he's standing up for his sister, and he could wear the shirt to support his sister. The problem was he didn't end there. He goes around and finds things to make comments like that. Right. And then I get these people coming at me like, oh, you're not, cry harder and stuff. And I'm like, again, I'm a biological woman. If you want to be called a woman, fine. But I don't think your rights should trump my rights. I said Trump too. I know. Of course. If you say any of this stuff, you are automatically a bigot, a Nazi, a TERF, a MAGA. All those things because, that's exactly what that means. But there's a lot of women who feel this way. But a lot of women are afraid to say anything because they're afraid they're going to get canceled.
The TERF has evolved into a MAGA TERF.
MAGA TERF.
Oh my God, it's evolving again into an ultra MAGA TERF. It's a dark ultra MAGA TERF.
And she's heinous. I'm like, she's heinous because she said menstruating persons. If only there was a word for that, And I don't like. Right? And again, if you watch her videos, I say J.K. Rowling should stop tweeting. Woman says so many things that I'm like, oh, that wasn't smart. And she's always saying stuff. And sometimes I agree with her, and a lot of times I don't agree with her. But I mean, I'm sorry. If there was only a word for a menstruating person, you mean a woman?
Well, what who radicalized you? What radicalized her was people dogpiling her and not letting her get any rest. They're constantly attacking her. And then she just went hard the other way. And she's like, fine. This is how it's going to be.
Well, they even found some
Kaboom.
woman they thought was her daughter and it wasn't. And then they were harassing that person.
Yes. Yeah.
And it wasn't
So
even her daughter.
That's what really set her off. Because I think, honestly, if she had said that and people were just kind of like, whatever, agree, disagree. But then she had like so many people associated with the movies turn on her and people were trying to get her canceled and whatever. And she just went like turbo nuclear. And yeah, I think if they had just like not acted like crazy people, she wouldn't be reciprocating. That's my personal opinion.
It's what it is. It's like, I think most people, for the longest time, they had no problems with people one way or another. It's just that when it became such a polarizing point and it became it got like we're heading into ridiculous territory that people were just like, no. And then unfortunately, a lot of people who aren't involved or don't behave that way are unfortunately lumped in. And I don't think that's fair, but it is what it is. And it's ridiculous. And if you say anything or you say, well, I'm not comfortable being calling a menstruated person, well, you're just a bigot. I don't want to be called birthing person. I think it's mean anyway, because there's a lot of women who want to have kids and can't. I mean, they can't birth a baby. Are you no longer a biological woman? That's not fair. I get why they want to change this to make certain people feel bad, or feel better, but it's just like, it's gone too far. And I'm sorry, but it has. And Pedro Pascal was allowed to support his sister. He's allowed to wear the shirt. The problem wasn't that. The problem was he turned around and opened his mouth and made the comments he made. And now people that have been watching this and following along with Gina Carano's situation are sitting back like, wait a minute. The same with Ziegler. You didn't do anything. I mean, Ziegler, at least they tried to fly out and have words. You better be doing something about Pascal because he's out there doing the same thing and causing potential, issues and giving Carano's legal team a whole bunch of ammo.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm thinking somebody will say they've got 2 movies. Disney has 2 movies with him that they're depending on this guy. They have Fantastic Four and The Mandalorian. And it's like, he's out there causing, whatever. So these are the comments on Deadline. Right. This person here, Mia, says, even if JK's comments show her to be an uncaring, bigoted shit stain, she has every right to make them, and I will protect her right to say as such, even if I disagree.
Right. And saying that, even if you disagree, it doesn't matter. People are going to take that as you're automatically agreeing and you're a turf bigot, whatever, too. And that's just the thing. It's like you can disagree, but still say, well, they have the right to say that, but that's still not good enough for these people.
This person's like, maybe we shouldn't care what celebrities with oversized egos and overblown senses of their own importance have to say about anything except their work. Well, that's the thing. Now, for the longest time, like Pascal almost feels like he's a relic from like 2018 where you had to go make all these statements and whatever.
I don't know. I just don't get it because I don't think dude can act that well. I don't think he's like, attractive in any way. I don't see the fascination with him. I really, truly don't. Sorry, Pedro. I know you're personally offended that I don't think anything of you, but I really, truly don't.
Here's another one. Don't these actors have media training? Probably not the best thing to do before a $150 million movie comes out to piss off half the country. Two very expensive movies.
Yeah, he was at the premiere of the Thunderbolt. That he did this at the premiere of the movie he's not in.
Yeah,
is where he did this at, which is not going to help it either.
And that's like, look, he wants to wear a shirt, whatever. That's fine.
But the shirt wasn't even the issue. I don't think the shirt wasn't the problem. The problem was because everybody knows he's trans rights because of his sister. Everybody knows that. Yeah. The problem was that he went onto somebody else's thing,
Instagram,
unrelated,
and called J.K. Rowling a loser.
A heinous, whatever.
A heinous
That's
loser.
The problem. It wasn't the shirt.
Yes. So that was the thing. Like, I don't think, I mean, some people were pissed off about it. I'm like, whatever, you're allowed, whatever. It's, oh boy, a Hollywood celebrity spouting a left wing, whatever.
I know. Data ends and why. My thing is, it's just like, when you already have a precedent set, that one person was fired because they refused to put pronouns in their bio, even though they said they respected their choice to do so and they were against bullying, and then turned around and got fired for saying, hey guys, maybe it's turning out to be like how the Jews are rounded up in Nazi Germany because everybody's turning you against each other and making you hate your neighbor, and maybe we need to be careful of that so we don't have history repeating itself, which was a very fair, valid, historically accurate comment. That got her fired. He's out there calling one of the biggest authors in the world a heinous loser and saying that was just shit and all that other stuff, and that's okay. You know,
Yeah.
and he's constantly posting political stuff, made comments like the MAGA people were the same as Nazis, you know, in an image and stuff, and still has a job.
So you know, in this case, I'm not sure how this is gonna, if this particular thing is gonna affect the box office.
I don't know if it will either, but
you know, I don't know. I mean, I'm really on the fence about Fantastic Four. I mean, actually, it's weird they're not showing him. I don't think they're showing him very much.
They aren't showing him much.
The trailer, which is kind of an odd thing, unless he just really stinks it up. I have no idea. But you know, it's not a good thing to say right before this movie's going to drop. It's not a wise. It's not a wise thing to say when they've got two movies coming out that are multi-million-dollar movies.
It's not a wise thing to say when he knows his ex-co-star is in a legal battle with the company hiring him, and they're looking for any possible ammunition to get her more money and get her a bigger win, and he's out there shooting his mouth off like he is.
Yeah, I mean, because here's the thing: like, if Disney doesn't put the kibosh on it, which they might in this case, because they saw firsthand what happened with Snow White, and you know, now they're in this lawsuit with Chrono, and his name's going to come up and all this. If they don't do it now, he's just going to continue to say dumb shit leading up to the Mandalorian, and they're going to be like, oh my god, especially if Fantastic Four underperforms. And I don't know if it's because I don't know if it's going to have any bearing on the box office whatsoever. Most normies just look at the trailer. Do I want to see it? Yes or no? But if Fantastic Four does not do well, they might be like, hey, Pedro, keep your mouth shut.
No, but the point is, it shouldn't even get to that point, because The Mandalorian was great, and Cara Dune was a really good popular character. They were going to do a whole spin-off series because everybody liked the character so much, and they completely nixed the other show, got rid of the, Gina Carano, and nixed the character and everything else because of comments that they took as being bad when they really weren't. And then Pascal's out there just talking shit right and left. And not even just him, Mark Ruffalo, Mark Hamill won't stop. Zegler. And they don't get any kind of public denouncement about being abhorrent or anything like that or get fired. They're just giving her ammo. So apparently you're allowed to say whatever you want as long as you are targeting biological women or people you think are on the right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's basically what's going on.
Well, we knew that. We knew those were the rules, right? We knew those were the rules.
Well, I don't know. The rules change all the time. So, who knows what the rules are going to be next week.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, we're going to wrap this up.
Yes.
Pedro Pascal not going to be in a Harry Potter reboot. So we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.